Hey everyone, we're back again, and I want to touch on hooks a little bit before we get going here. And I think this is a pretty important subject because there's lots of different hook styles and hooks out there. And one thing about the hooks I love to point out, just fishing wise, is making sure to have a sharp point of the hook, and getting a little file on your vest if you don't already do that can be really important, because sometimes you only get one shot at those fish, and if you've got a dull hook you might not get a good hook set. So that's kind of a little extra bonus for you here. But I wanted to touch on some of the different hooks, and really, there's tons of different variation out there, from really large hooks, saltwater hooks, different shapes and sizes. Pretty much for every fly, there's probably a different hook you could use for it specifically. But for this course, we're really going to narrow it down to some basic things, just to keep this simple. So for today, I want you to just look at what we're doing today, and look at what we've done. And I'm going to talk a little bit about where we're going. But for the most part, we're going to be using today we'll be using a little nymph hook, about a size 12. And when we tied that woolly bugger, we actually used a 3X long, so a long shank hook, and it was on a nymph hook on a 9671 mustad hook, so a kind of a typical streamer type hook. But I did want to make a note: if you go down below, just look down below there is a link to terminology. And if you click on that, it'll talk a little bit about the terminology stuff that everything I'm not going to cover today. Like, some of the stuff, the typical stuff, like the hook shank and and the barb and things like that we've talked about. But if you want some other additional information, go there. But I do want to talk again about sizes and weights, and that's what I want you to focus on as we're getting into this, because we're going to be tying a soft hackle. That's a little secret, a little spoiler. That's going to be probably our next fly we tie. But just to run down on sizes again, so this is a large steelhead hook. This is a 3/0 hook. You can see very large. So the way the hook sizing goes is that the 3/0s are the largest size. So a 3/0, 2/0, 1/0 are large. As a 3/0 is larger than a 1/0. But as you get up into a size 1, size 2, size 6, now the sizing changes. So a size 2 is larger than a size 6, and a size 20 is a very small fly. So the higher the number, the smaller the fly. Kind of a weird little, kind of a quirky deal of fly tying, which there's a few of those things. So that's one thing I wanted to note. As far as kind of weights, some of the actual hooks will be noted as fine wire hooks, and that just lets you know they're lighter hooks, and those would be better used for dry flies, because the lighter the hook you want to float. With a nymph hook you want to sink a little bit. And one other thing you can note is there are other types of double hooks and things like that, but hooks can either have usually a up eye, this is going up, or down eye. The hooks we're going to be tying with today are down eye hooks, so we'll talk about that a little bit. So that is a quick little rundown. We'll touch more on this probably later in the course, just get a little deeper into it. So if you have any questions, you can check back anytime, and let's jump into the next one. We'll see you there.